One more example, which will be familiar to everybody and is not my client, so I can put their name on it, right? Zoom. Here we are, everybody doing virtual cocktail, right? If you go back a quarter or two or three and look at Zoom's material, you'll find out their target audience has always been business users, corporate users, right? And they had something on the order of 10 million folks who love Zoom, but were using it almost exclusively for work, both internal and customer to vendor, right? Suddenly, we found that the audience has ballooned in the last 8 weeks to something on the order of 200 million folks, almost all of whom are consumers or using it for their consumer practice. So it's checking in on your grandparents, it's virtual dinner parties and book clubs. It's all of the things we're doing to try to stay human and humane and in touch with folks in the current crisis. So if you notice, that's a 20x increase in users and in traffic and in everything. And almost all the new users are worried about how to get the basics working, and they may be much less tech savvy than our business users are. So again, we're going to have to think hard about whether we're going to flip things around. There was a lot of publicity around this, both positive and negative. I think Zoom shareholders were pretty happy, but things we noticed right away, right? Scalability had a lot of issues. I was on some remote working workshops where for a couple of days we couldn't get breakout rooms to work because we don't quite know, but we think some of the microprocesses in the back, some of the coding in the back wasn't designed for the level of scale that breakout rooms are using. And for a couple of days, they kept falling over, right? We've had a lot of security issues. I've been on a couple of meetings where we got Zoom bombed and people who we didn't know came in and put impolite pictures up and such, which, it's kind of impolite in a work setting, much, much more serious if you're running your classroom for preschoolers over Zoom. So Zoom did exactly the right thing here. No surprise, because it's a really smart company. They threw everyone they could against scalability and security and infrastructure. They introduced a bunch of new passwords, a bunch of new security features, such that it was a little less convenient to use, but protected these 200 million people against some things that they really weren't prepared for. So I think that was obvious. It was a hard call, but maybe not so hard. But when we look at the next set of things, and I don't know the answer, so I'm going to pose this as a question, because it's a strategic question for the company. One can either look at this and say, when this is all over in 2 weeks or 6 weeks or 11 weeks, we expect our audience to shrink back to 10 or 20 or 25 million corporate users, and we're back on strategy with all the things we're going to do, back in integrations and tying to various email and calendaring systems and stuff. Or we could have a change in strategy and decide that we're really the new tool for consumers, and we're going to try to keep 100 million of these folks and extract some money from them, because right now they're mostly getting it for free. So rather than shifting their plan around without some good thought, I'm hoping they're going to spend a few weeks or maybe a month or more really thinking hard about a left turn or a right turn in their product strategy. Because if they shift to consumers, many, many things on their backlog that were really designed just for corporate customers, think about all the single sign-on things that people use, are going to be de-emphasized, and they're going to do less of a good job for their corporate customers. I think it's hard to build a product in both spaces, and these are smart folks. So I'm expecting they're wrestling with questions like this right now, and you may be as well. So if you think that the COVID crisis has really shifted your market, take a breath, think hard, do a little research, plan out the financials, because if you shift your market and you have to come back, it's going to be pretty costly, pretty expensive.